Hello guys, this is FortDefender and welcome back to yet another Pokemon video. Today we're going to be going over my favorite Pokemon of each type, and that's because you guys have really been liking my top 10 Pokemon, top 10 shiny Pokemon videos, so we're just going to do my favorite Pokemon of every type, and I'm going to go through and explain why each is my favorite of that type, and believe me, it took me a long time to figure out some of these. But yeah guys, let's get started. For the first type, it's going to be the grass type. And for this type, I chose Venusaur. This is because Venusaur has been really important to me in Pokemon for a very long time. Venusaur was my starter in Kanto, and I don't know, it's just been really special to me all this time. It was my starter in Go even, as Bulbasaur, so I really like Venusaur. And then when the Isle of Armor came out, Isle of Armor, hands down my favorite thing of Pokemon, and when they released that G-Max form, made it my number one. As for the fire type, this one's going to be a no-brainer. You guys know that Chandelure is my favorite Pokemon of all time. I don't really need to explain this much. Chandelure, my number one fire type. As for my number one water type, we're going to do Swampert. This is because my second game ever, and the first game I really played of Pokemon, was ORAS. And Alpha Sapphire, when I played it, my starter was, you guessed it, Mudkip. And Swampert, I just pretty much swept everything with Swampert, so it became extra special to me. And I Mega Evolved it all the time, and I just thought it was so cool to have a Mega Swampert. So that definitely made Swampert one of my top water types for sure. And then also I've been using a Shadow Swampert in PvP for a while now, and it's been insane. So that bumps Swampert up to number one for water. Number one for normal type is going to be, you might have guessed this if you've been on the channel for a little bit watching our live streams, but it's actually going to be Ditto. That is my favorite of all the normal types. I know there's some pretty cool ones like Eevee and Snorlax and Porygon, but Ditto, with the prospect of being every Pokemon, I don't know, that just seemed like so cool to me when I started playing the game. So I thought, yeah, Ditto's gotta be my number one normal type. As for my electric type, this one was harder. This was a lot harder because I was like stuck between Bolton and I was stuck between Mega Manectric, which was super special to me. But in the end, I ended up going with Exertree because it just looks hilarious. And I love how it walks in Sword and Shield. It just like flails around. And I don't know, the design is so simple yet so cool. And I like Ultra Beasts with their abilities. And I don't know, I think they're cooler than legendaries. So that's why it's my favorite electric type. As for my favorite psychic type, this one was another hard one. I was going to go with Lunala, but I ended up going with Metagross. I really like Metagross. I think it's such a cool Pokemon with Steel Psychic. It's so powerful in Pokemon Go, I use it all the time. I hunted a really long time with chain encounters in Moon to get Shiny Beldum. And looking back on it now, I don't know how I caught it, because technically it has a legendary catch rate. And I caught it with like pretty much ease, and I probably should have lost that. I should have ran out of Pokeballs probably because I had no way to like paralyze it or anything. So I'm very grateful for that, and it's made Metagross like one of my favorites of all time. As for my favorite fighting type, this one was also a no-brainer. My starter in Unova, my first game ever, was Tepig, and I just thought the Emborg was the coolest. I didn't really know what I was doing when I first got my Pokemon game. Nobody ever told me what I was doing, and I was just going around exploring stuff, pretty much just over-leveling my starter, which I used to destroy everything, but being stuck in areas because I didn't know what gyms were and how they worked. So I just remember a lot of times just battling things in the wild with my Emborg, and I thought it was great. And that just made Emborg one of my favorite. As for my favorite rock type, this one was one that was also, I was like, it's going to be hard to decide, but I ended up going with Midday Lycanroc. I don't know, I like the design so much, and I finally got the shiny that I wanted. It looks amazing, and I'm so happy that I did. So that hunt, plus how cool it looks, I don't know, plus the anime I think too, is what made it my favorite of all the rock types. I was thinking about Colossal, but no, Lycanroc. As for my favorite ground type, now this one I was like, I don't know. But then I thought, well, I'll save the one I was thinking of for later. But my favorite ground type then automatically goes to Garchomp. And Mega Garchomp just looks that much cooler. I don't really need to explain for Garchomp why it's so cool, but Mega Garchomp, favorite ground type. As for my favorite flying type, Rayquaza is one of my favorite all-time Pokemon ever. Mega Rayquaza is just insane. I used it in competitive battles in Moon. Oh my goodness, it was so awesome. I mean, it was just taking out everything, and its ability, I don't know, it just made it really, really special to me, and I like the Mega even more. I also pulled a full art Mega Rayquaza card from Roaring Skies, and that's been like my favorite card ever from TCG, so that helps too. For my favorite bug type, that is going to go to Vikavolt, and that is because I don't know why, but for some reason I really, really wanted shiny Vikavolt. I was like, oh, let's get it, and I just started chain hunting Grubbin, and I hunted, and I hunted, and I hunted, and it went on to be my now second longest hunt, but then it was my first longest hunt, of 4,200 SOS chain encounters, and I finally got that shiny Grubbin, which I evolved right into Vikavolt. It's been my favorite bug type ever since. As for my favorite poison type, there were so many I could have chosen from, but I ended up going with Alolan Muck. Alolan Muck was part of my Moon team, and with Black Sludge, I just loved it only having one weakness. Probably could have done a little bit more to make it better, but that was my playthrough of Moon. Didn't really know a whole lot about Pokemon when I was doing that, and I don't know, it was just really, really good to me, and I always liked using it, especially sometimes in PvP, and it held its own, so that made Alolan Muck really special to me. Now, you're thinking, if Muck was so important to you, why didn't you choose it for Dark-type? That's because I want to reserve Dark-type for something that I think is, like, awesome. I mean, it's just, like, I don't know how to describe it, but Goozlord is, like, the coolest of all the Ultra Beasts. I'm sorry to say, but it is. Like, the whole idea of it, plus its Pokemon TCG card, it's just so powerful that, like, I don't know, there's no way I couldn't add it onto this list. As for my favorite ghost type, you know that I had to put this on the list. As my favorite legendary of all time, I had to put Giratina as my favorite ghost type. So it had to go in there somewhere, guys. So definitely Giratina is going to be my favorite ghost type. This is the one I was talking about when I said, am I going to choose between a ground type or not? And that is Mamoswine. I could have also chosen as an ice type, so that's why I waited. Mamoswine is like super special to me because I started playing Pokemon Go on Swinub Community Day, and those were my first ones that I had in Pokemon Go, and those were my first shinies ever, really, so that's why it's super special to me. And for my favorite steel type, that would go to Magnezone. I've played the Magnemite line for as long as I've been playing the game. I used Magnezone in my playthrough of Moon, and I don't know, it's such a cool Pokemon. I love its cry. Don't count it out for that 4 times ground weakness. It is still amazing, nevertheless. So it's definitely one of my favorites. As for my favorite dragon type, that's going to go to Dragapult. And that's because it was my first ever shiny in Sword and Shield and my first ever shiny hatch. So it was extra special to me. I used it a ton in my PvP teams, and I've used it ever since I've got it. And it's been a huge, important part of every team I've had, and it's now part of my shiny dream team. Okay guys, the final one, the fairy type. My favorite fairy type Pokemon is Mimikyu. You know I love the ghost type and the ghost fairy typing. There's no way I couldn't pick it. And Mimikyu has been so good for me in competitive, and that shiny I got, I love it so much. So that's why it is my favorite fairy type. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, going over all my favorite Pokemon of each type. And if you liked the video, I really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button. And as always guys, thanks for watching.